Hi, good morning, and welcome to Homemade TV. My name's Chris Gosling. I had a moment there because I haven't done this one before with all the kit that we've now put in. We're now doing lives, or the plan is to do lives 2 or 3 times a week. I'm going to try and do one every Friday for a start off at around 10:30, and I'll try and do 2 more during the week. The aim and intent of Homemade TV is to produce content that's, if you like, biased towards the older generation, towards my generation, for goodness sake, because I do tend to feel quite strongly, that's disgusting, too much shame, I do tend to feel quite strongly that we get ignored a bit. We get looked down upon as people, and we get kind of ignored by the mass media, and not too much notice is paid to older people. And yet, there's a lot of things going for us from many points of view. One of those things that we have to remember is that old people, mature people really, people who are grown up, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and goodness knows how long beyond, we tend to be the ones who go out and vote. So I think politicians maybe have to pay a little bit of attention to us and see where we go. Okay, well, today is Friday, first little show. One thing to show you, I wanted to bring you this because I think this is really, really a nice bit of good news. I like good news. I don't know about you, but I like to have something that actually starts the show off with a bit of good news. And this is it. This is a view looking down on one of the South Lakeland Age UK retail shops. And I'm delighted to say that some of the Edge UK shops are now starting to open. And that's really good. They're doing the 2 meter distancing thing, the social distancing, and they're doing that, from the look of it, very well indeed. I must say I'm quite impressed with them. But it does mean, thank goodness, that some of the charities that people like you and me maybe depend on actually are getting back in gear and starting to generate an income again, because, of course, charities are supported largely by charity shops, and all those charity shops have been closed. So it's been pretty difficult for those guys. I'm sorry about the occasional little bit of camera shake. We'll fix that for the next show, but I thought it was easier to go ahead without fixing it and leaving a little bit of camera shake. It's one of those things, I guess you would say. Now we come on to the couple of bits of bad news. Older people like us are, I think, honestly, pretty dependent on having good sources of entertainment. Now, some of us are going to say this is for rich people only, but I take a bus tour 2 or 3 times a year. We always have done. Take a bus tour up to London and go to a London show. But I'm sad to tell you, this is a bit of news that I picked up today. I'll see if I can get that on screen. Yeah, I can. Cameron Mackintosh has said that he won't be reopening his major musicals until 2021. That's really sad, I think, and that includes his shows like Les Mis, Mary Poppins, Hamilton, The Phantom of the Opera. None of those are actually going to get back on the stage until sometime in 2021. And Cameron Mackintosh says, goodness knows when, I think, really. I'm just having a look at his article. On the YouTube version of this video, I'll put a link on to this story and to the other stories that I've got, and you'll be able to read them for yourself. But this is in the Stage newspaper. And what he's saying, or what he currently said, is that he says how much he cares about what he does and how he does it, and how much he's bothered about the people, because it looks like he's going to have to let a lot of people go because there's actually literally no work for him. He said they're going to take some time to sort out what they need to do with coronavirus, and then once they get the shows, or the go ahead to get the shows back, it's still going to take weeks and months to get those shows back on the road. It's really sad to see, isn't it? I like a good theatre show, and I don't know what the story is as far as your area is concerned, but local regional theatres are also suffering exactly the same. Now, I've got one other thing to give to you that I'll be giving you later at the end of the show, in the end titles. We've now got a phone number that you can ring us on and leave a voice message. We can't take calls directly, sadly, because there aren't enough people here. But you can now leave a voice message on this number, or you can send a text message, and that number is 07943 043 948. That'll be on the end title at the end of the show, so catch that. Another bit of good news that I have to give you is that in the next few shows, we're going to be having a couple of guests that I really rate. The first one is a man called Mike Harvey Murray, who is he's younger than me. It's a bit sad, really, isn't it? But he's always been stuck, or as long as I've known him, he's been stuck in a wheelchair. But he is one of those, I'd call him inspirational people, who nonetheless gets out and does stuff. The first time I met him, he was running a considerable sized motor cruiser, which happened to have a back door, so he could get his wheelchair into the cockpit and go from there. And now he has a motorhome, and I hope that we'll be able to share some of his motorhome adventures with Mike Harvey Murray, because he's a really good bloke, and he will be up in one of our shows, I hope, very soon. Okay, the next bit of news from us is this one. Heavens, I don't know what happened there, but this is our next little news item, and I'm a bit fascinated by this one. There are always, with all things like COVID-19, etc., there are always situations in which people bring you bad news because it seems like, a good way of generating news content. The reality, I think, is that that's not quite the case for many of us. We don't want to hear bad news all the time. We know the bad news is there, but we'd like to hear something better. But this one is quite concerning, really, because it says that a lot of people are getting really depressed and fed up with the situation. There was a research survey done by an organisation called Aging Better, and they carried it out with one of the large research companies, and they said that people in their 50s, almost half people in their 50s and 60s, believe that their financial circumstances will worsen over the next year. And that sounds pretty nasty. It says that their physical and mental health has deteriorated during lockdown, and that sounds bad as well. So I find that really pretty sad. I'm just going to run down the story. As I said, I will include the link for this. A lot of people say they've been having mental health problems with being stuck at home. They also believe that they're going to have job problems in the future. And a lot of people have said that they're drinking more alcohol. Well, me, I think I've had a whole bottle of wine since lockdown and a few cans of beer. But there you go. I am looking forward to the pubs being open, however. So there you have that one. But the reality, I think, for people is that most of us, I'd say that most of us kind of do what we can, don't we, with this kind of stuff. But where do we go to from here? Well, who knows? I hope that people are going to be doing better. If you have a message to give to the world, I'd love to hear from you. I mentioned the phone number. I'll give it to you again. It's 07943 043948, and you'll catch that in the end titles on the show. And I hope you give us a ring and give us a message or send us a text message. We are open to any sort of news that affects older people. And to be honest with you, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have your news. Okay, I'm Chris. This is Homemade TV. It is Friday the 19th of June 2020. The time is just coming up for 10:40. We've been online for just about 10 minutes nearly, and we'll be back next week with more live content. If you have a comment on what we're doing, if you've got ideas of the direction you'd like to see us go, if you're in our right age group, hey, get in touch with me. I would love to hear from you. You can reach me through Facebook, you can reach me through YouTube, you can reach me on email. Loads of ways of getting in touch, so please don't give us, the proverbial ignore. Have a contact, have a chat, and we'll see where we go. One more thing to mention to you that I forgot, goodness me, it's my age, is that in the next few days, in the next few shows, we'll also be introducing someone called the Tech Nerd. haven't got his illustration to hand, but you'll see him soon enough. A man called David Jennings. He is a chum of mine, and he's an excellent techie. He runs a techie business, and a big part of his business is helping older people to do well on the internet. So if you're struggling, having problems, we'll be glad to hear from you and glad to hear what your problems are. And David will do his utmost to answer them. Okay, I'm just going to go on to the comments page and see if there's anybody I ought to be. I have to tell you, I've got that Mike Harvey Murray chap on the online has been watching. Hi, Mike. Hope you've enjoyed this little clip. It's interesting, and I don't sound. Actually, I hate to tell you, I don't sound anything like Ken Bruce, but there you have it. Okay. One of the things about this system is that you do have to go to and fro between pages, but we'll do that and sort that out. And we'll go from there. And I'm Chris Gosling. This is Homemade TV, and I hope to see you really soon. Take care now.